We're here to celebrate 29.8 million nurses around the world. We're going to be joining with some fantastic nurse leaders and champions to tell us what's happening for International Nurses Day, how this new report that we're launching today is making a potential difference to their lives. And for the 1,100 people registered for this webinar live from Geneva, you're going to get to hear some unique insights into the state of the world's nursing 2025 from our esteemed Dr. Carey McCarthy, live from the United States, and our co-chairs, Howard, Amelia, and Sheila, and many of our partners. It's just after 1 p.m. Geneva, and we'll be celebrating with you for the next 85 minutes. But around the world, events have already been happening from the Pacific Islands, from Tonga and many other areas, through the Western Pacific, the Southeast Asia region, and the Eastern Mediterranean region, events already occurring. And we're going to go immediately to our colleagues from the Cairo office in Egypt. We're going to be joined by Dr. Adam Ismail, who's the Director of Program Management for WHO EMRO, who's going to be talking to us about the events there. Adam, are you?
Yes, I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay.
You're online. Welcome. Happy International Nurses Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm also joined by colleagues who works in everyday business on nursing, Dr. Aoud Matarea, the Director of Health System, Dr. Gulen, also our coordinator for health workforce, Dr. Wajid Johar on education. And we've been very proud and that we've been, about this event, and we're honored that we are the first ones to speak on how did we celebrate today the International Nursing Day across the whole region, Eastern Mediterranean region. Let me first recap that the day began with a regional event and the launch of the State of the World's Nursing Report, which is co-hosted with the United Arab Emirates. Nursing leaders led a forward-looking discussion on strengthening the profession. This was followed by a Nursing Now event, which brought together young and new nurses, which is our future leaders, as you know. Countries across the region, including Egypt, Lebanon, Pakistan, Emirates, and Qatar, are hosting national events recognizing the vital role of nurses. These gatherings unite professionals, students, policymakers, academics, and other key stakeholders. These efforts reflect a strong regional commitment to investing in and empowering the nursing workforce. I welcome the new report for its timely insights and evidence outlining both progress and challenges ahead. WHO regional flagship initiative on investing in a resilient health workforce, which is, of course, nursing is at the heart of it, is accelerating this momentum and adding to it. On this important day, I salute the nurses and health workers in our region and beyond, who serve with dedication, often under the most difficult conditions, as you can all notice from the ongoing emergencies in our region. We must recognize that building a stronger nursing workforce is central to achieving universal health coverage, meeting our sustainable development goals, and ensuring health security in an increasingly unstable world. Finally, I need to convey the apologies of our regional director who couldn't deliver that message herself and delegated it to me. She would have loved being here, but she was, but I know that she has already gave the opening remarks for the morning celebration in our region and delegated me to and insisted that I should be present to deliver that message on her behalf as well. So thank you very much. Congratulations to all our beautiful nurses across the region and beyond. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Adam. Really appreciate that. And indeed, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Hanan Balki and Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, in a a major meeting preparing for the World Health Assembly that's starting next week. Member states, 194 of them, will be here talking around some of the most critical issues of the day: the pandemic treaty, the nursing midwifery agenda, many, many other issues. And so they send their applause and gratitude to nurses everywhere for this day, and will convey messages accordingly. So appreciate that. We very much recognize, Adam, the points you are making. A large proportion in the EMRO region, early career nurses, the percentages, one of the highest in the world in that region, and also the fragility. We're going to touch upon those two issues in this session in a bit more detail. Let's go particularly on this early career leadership issue, the development of our nursing competencies around the world. Let's invite Professor Aisha Holloway, who's the executive for the Nursing Now Challenge and is overseeing leadership development for more than 300,000 nurses around the world. This came from the partnership with ICN, WHO in the Nursing Now work that Howard made mention from 2020-21 and continues to grow and grow. Aisha, are you with us? Are you there? Is the connection online?
Hi, hello.
You're there.
It's all happening. It's all happening. It's absolutely amazing. How are you?
Oh, we're all grand. Aisha, you've been up since the early hours. What are some of the events that you've been joining with the Nursing Now?
I can't tell you. It's happening now. The energy. So I've been up since 5 o'clock. We have had 4 regional launches. We have had Sero region. We have had Wipro region. We have had EMRO region, and we are still going. We have got some big headline messages coming through. The key one is that people love this report. We've had the saying that lots of reports come along, but when you get a good one, and this is a good one, then we have to get it out there. It is a change maker. So people are loving it. Early career nurses, the stakeholders, we've had them all in meetings. Resounding success. So thank you, WHO, for giving us this. Giving us the toolkit to take forward for action. And here's the other thing, the messages we're hearing from the region resonate with the report. The report clearly is amplifying, magnifying the challenges, but the opportunities and chance and opportunity for action. The youth are ready to go with this. I'm telling you, they are so ready to go with it. So anything else you want me to tell you? I've got so much that I could share with you. So let me know what else you need to hear from me. I know time's short and I know you're engaging with lots of people, but we have still got the House of Lords event to come. We have still got another 2 regional launches, PAHO, also Afro region. And yeah, we can, the energy in the rooms at the minute and online is absolutely fascinating, outstanding. Leadership, work conditions, quality, mental well-being of workforce. If people are really excited to see more CNOs, but they want them to have power, they want them to have agency, they want to have a mandate. They're loving advanced practice, but they agree with you, scope of practice needs to be really fulfilled. So echoing the report and really ready to take it forward. How are we going to take it forward these next 6 months, this next year? That's the talk at the minute. Collaboration, coalition, all stakeholders, multi-sector, collaboration and relationships, ways we've never worked before together. That's what the call of action is for, and they are going to be doing it.
Thank you very much, Aisha. Let me bring in Howard Catton, the Chief Executive of ICN. Howard.
Hi, Howard.
Observations.
Aisha, fantastic to see you, and congratulations
Hi,
on
Howard.
your events with
Yes,
nurses
and
from
ICN...
with the young nurses from right the way around the world. Aisha, we know that there are some challenges in this report as well in relation to issues like pay and working conditions as well.
Yes.
It's fantastic to hear the energy from the younger nurses. Just tell us, what are they saying to you are the key things that we need to be doing to attract people into the profession?
Yes.
One key message, Aisha.
Yes, the key messages there are absolutely. The two things are, I feel, is that they understand there is this drive of AI and digital technology that we need to harness, but the very essence of nursing, holistic care, person-centered, human-centered, that cannot be delivered by anyone else except a nurse. Working conditions need to be attractive for early career nurses. When we recruit them into the profession, I don't think it's the profession isn't attractive. I think it's when they come in, it's what they are then faced with. So we need to address those issues and challenges, and we need to retain. And we will only do that if we enhance leadership opportunities, address working conditions. Leadership was a key thing that came out of Zero Region again and again. And interestingly, opportunities for research so that they can contribute to the evidence base, engage with the data, and be part of the decision making. This generation of youth are like no other. They want to be in on decision making, and it doesn't need to be at a huge level. It's about everyday work. It's about everyday coming together with teams, but caring for people. When nurses are not able to deliver care, they become challenged. And someone said, Andreas from Spain in Euroregion, burnout is not a badge of honor.
Absolutely, Aisha. Let's keep that there. Early career nurses around the world, decent work conditions, making sure that we're looking at their professional environment, career development, and the
Leadership.
retention, absolutely essential. Thank you very much, Aisha. We'll come back to you a little later as well for the House of Lords event this afternoon in London.
Can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you. Right.
Thank you. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen around the world, we're going to turn now to that one part of today when there is a bit of data, a bit of evidence, a bit of information. What is in this State of the World Nursing report? And three things, if I may. Firstly, this report would not be possible without hundreds and hundreds of people around the world contributing. The 194 member states that have participated in their sharing their data, validating that data, coming together. The worldwide team of experts, deans, presidents of national nursing associations, regulators and partners, all involved. Our WHO country and regional colleagues around the world participating, supporting, enabling, sharing the convening role the WHO does best. A huge cast of people here in WHO Geneva. It's not just the technical work, it's the audio visual, the interpreters, everybody. My team in the Health Workforce Department, the team with Amelia in the Chief Nursing Office, all coming together, every one of them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But it is also, we're going to turn momentarily, and special thanks to Dr. Carey McCarthy, who's been coordinating this for us. Second, we have a team here in the room who will answer your questions, your comments in the chat function, in the Q&A live. Any question you have, type it in, get your fingers busy, and we will be providing you the answer in real time. Particularly, do tell us, do share, what action will you take in your setting? How will you use this report to create change? And thirdly, then, the moment that we're really, today's International Nurses Day, the launch of the report, let me invite our wonderful colleague, Dr. Carey McCarthy, to give us a presentation on the major findings in this report. Carey, are you there? Are you connected?
I am. Can you hear me, Jim?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Fantastic. Welcome, everyone, to the launch of the State of the World's Nursing Report. I am here in the United States. I'm at the Madison College School of Nursing, presenting to you live with a room full of faculty, students, clinical instructors, and alumni of nursing faculty. This is a college of nursing, a school of nursing that prepares nurses to operate at both the associate professional and professional level nurse. And they have a fantastic simulation center that you're going to see a little bit later. So really taking up that policy priority about harnessing the digital health and technology for nursing education and practice. So we'll see that a little bit later. For now, as Jim said, I'm going to share with you a background on the report, give you just a few of the key findings. We really hope you dig into this report. There's over 100 pages of data and analysis and evidence in this report on all areas of the nursing workforce. And we're going to talk about what are the key findings that are coming from that evidence that we environment. And this global environment has strong impacts upon health system functioning, the availability of health services, and ultimately health outcomes. We've seen the impacts of this in the slowing of progress on some health-related global health goals, including universal health coverage. We know that universal health coverage is predicated, amongst other things, on access to health workers, and nurses make up over half the health workforce in many countries. So we know that nurses represent a huge potential for improving health outcomes, improving the accessibility of essential health services. So we need to focus on nurses and understand what is the situation with nurses globally, currently, both at the global level, but as well as the regional level and the national level. And that's what the State of the World's Nursing Report does. It also gives us the data to look forward to support policy and planning around the nursing workforce. How do we ensure that populations have the services that they need delivered by a competent and skilled nursing workforce? So how do we do that planning and forecasting? We need this data and evidence. And we know that this data and evidence is the foundation for evidence-informed decision-making. We saw that happen at the national level, and it's also happening at the global level. As Jim said, the World Health Assembly is convening in 1 week from now and looking at the nursing and midwifery agenda, among other things. So we need to have this evidence available for the decision-making and planning at the national level, all the way up to the global. And we've seen this happen before. When we first did the State of the World's Nursing Report with ICN and Nursing Now in 2020, we provided that evidence, and it supported policy dialogue, both at national level, using the country profiles for data and evidence. That dialogue also happened at the global stage in 2020 with Her Royal Highness Princess Muna, who gave an intervention as part of the dialogue at the World Health Assembly. And that led to decision-making on nursing and midwifery. For the very first time, the World Health Assembly decided to request WHO to develop the global strategic directions for nursing and midwifery, which they had never done before. We had been doing this global strategic direction since 2002, but never had it been a decision by the World Health Assembly for us to bring it to them for consideration and action. And the 74th World Health Assembly adopted that global strategic directions for nursing and midwifery. This had also never happened before, with a resolution urging all countries and all partners and stakeholders to implement the global strategic directions 2021 through 2025 and the 12 policy priorities that were in there. Now, it's been about 4 years, and we've had great uptake in advancement of the global strategic directions, but we've been monitoring that implementation, so we know it's very high, but we are at the end of that period. We're at 2025. And again, we need the data and the evidence to inform the policy making on where to go next with the global strategic directions. And in 1 week at the World Health Assembly, the delegation is expected to decide on whether or not to extend the global strategic directions through 2030. And so this is something that can really inform that global policy making. So how did we create the State of the World's Nursing 2025? We used a globally standardized definition of nurses. There are 2 definitions of nurses, 2 types of nurses, a professional nurse and an associate professional nurse, and we asked countries to count those types of nurses separately. We use an online system that all countries have access to share their data on nurses and other health workers with WHO. That process was led at the country level with a focal point for the data reporting that engaged with nursing leaders as well as other nursing stakeholders to review and validate that data that's shared with WHO. We have some of the best nursing data that we've ever had. We have the the count and the stock and the type of nurses from 194 countries. And we have a kind of a core set of key indicators that we have to be able to describe the nursing workforce. And we had an increase in those indicators from Nursing 2020. So this allows us to have good confidence in understanding the stock and distribution and availability of nurses, which is at the foundation of all the other planning and forecasting that we do. So we're going to go through a few of the key findings, and these are separated into those policy areas of the global strategic directions for nursing midwifery: jobs, education, leadership, and service delivery. So here are some of the key findings. We know that we now have almost 30 million nurses globally, and this translates to a density. All the pinks and reds are lower density, contrasted with those blue colors, which are higher density. There's actually a 5-fold difference in the density between nurses in Europe as compared to Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean region. The distribution of those nurses, you can see, is highly skewed. By one metric, almost 80% of the nurses, 78% of the nurses are in countries that only represent half the world's population. If you look at it by income group, high income countries, which only represent 17% of the world's population, have 46% of the world's nurses. So we know that this type of this inequitable distribution means many people are without essential basic health services delivered by nurses, and that is not something that we can afford to have if we're trying to make progress on universal health coverage and the Sustainable Development Goals. Our shortage currently has come down from 6.2 million in 2020 to 5.8 million, and that's the shortage that we need to, the gap we need to close by 2030. In terms of the demographics of the nursing workforce, they have about 80% of those nursing professional types. And in the age, you can see in the age profile, in the graph on the right, we have more early career nurses than we have late career nurses. About 33% of nurses are 35 and under, whereas 19% of nurses are 55 and older. Although this global statistic also masks differences in countries. There's 20 countries in which the nurses 55 and older outnumber those who are 35 and younger. So you can understand the need for planning and forecasting and make sure the availability of nurses is coming through in those countries. In terms of gender, it's still a highly feminized profession with 85% female. It's about 70% found in the public sector. And there's about 1 in 7 nurses who's practicing in a country other than where he or she was born. This also is very different when you look at income classification, because high income countries have about 23% of their nursing workforce that was foreign born. So this reflects the level of migration, particularly to high income countries. If we look at forward to 2030, we're going to see an increase in the global stock from about 30 million in 2023 to 36 million in 2030. We'll see that increase in density as well, but that growth is going to be highly inequitable. If you look at the slide on the right, you can see in terms of that growth to 36 million, where it's going to take place. There's only 7% of that growth will be seen in the region of Africa and only 3% in the region of the Eastern Mediterranean. So these are the regions that need it most, and that's not currently where we're projected to see the growth. The shortage will continue to decrease from 6.2 million in 2020 to 5.8 million today and to 5.1 million in 2030. But that decrease in shortage is also inequitable. By 2030, it's estimated that 70% of that 4.1 million will be in 2 regions, Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. So this has really important implications for how we invest and plan to close that gap and address that inequity. In terms of education, we look at what's called the education pipeline, the number of student nurses going in and the number of graduates coming out. Globally, we have an average of 6.4 per 100 active nurses, but this is really different when we look at income categories as well. Low and lower middle income countries actually have a higher rate of graduates, the graduates per active nurses. But if we look, that means they're really trying hard to increase that production of nurses in their countries to fill that shortage. But if we look at another indicator of the pipeline, the number of graduates per population, that is still lowest in low-income countries and highest in high-income countries. So there's still more work that needs to be done to increase that graduation rate in low and lower middle income countries. In terms of the duration of education, we can see over half of the world's nurses are educated in programs that are 3 years in duration, and over 30% are in programs that are 4 years. So the vast majority in 3 and 4 year programs. If we look at the quality of education, we can see that there's pretty high level of standards for faculty, standards for accreditation, but 2 areas that are lagging behind a little bit in this are social accountability in terms of the education for nurses, making sure that meets the social needs of the populations, and also standards ensuring that the social determinants of health are in the education accreditation standards for nursing education. So we know this is important when we're thinking about primary health care and nurses being competent in helping drive progress on universal health coverage. In terms of service delivery, this is really looking at the work environment and regulations. So we saw that broadly that regulations are in place for nursing: regulatory bodies, initial competency, continuing competency, and advanced practice nursing roles. We saw an increase in this to 62% currently, which is different than the 53% of countries reporting advanced practice rules in 2020. One area that was, and we look at working conditions, and in the report we have about 10 different policies and measures that we looked at in terms of whether they're in place for protecting and supporting nurses in the work environment, and many of those were well established. The areas that weren't so much were measures to prevent attacks on health workers, and knowing the increase in conflicts and protracted conflicts and fragility around the world, this is important to have in place. And only 42% of countries had packages for mental well-being of nurses. So that's something we also need to address to have better working conditions for nurses and make sure you avoid that burnout and decrease in motivation and retention. In terms of service delivery, an important piece is the wages. So we, for the first time, had data on wages, and the median entry-level wage was about 774 standardized US dollars. There's a big difference in these wages by region, though. And even in purchasing power parity that we looked at, we had big differences by income classification. So high-income countries actually had twice as high a purchasing power parity for nursing wages than upper middle income countries, and 3 times higher than in low income countries. We did an analysis of 31 countries had data that we could do a gender pay gap analysis, and we found about 7% difference in the pay between men and women. So another important issue that drives motivation and working conditions for nurses. In terms of global leadership, we found that 82% of countries reported having that senior position for nurses in the Ministry of Health. We often call this the Global Chief Nursing Officer. So that is higher than we found in State of the World's Nursing 2020, although we do not know those types of roles and responsibilities and authority that nurses have. And other evidence suggests that they might not have the authority and resources they need to really be impactful in these roles. But 2/3 of countries have national leadership development programs, which is also an increase from 2020. Although if we look by income classification, we see a big difference. 80% of high-income countries said they have national leadership programs for nurses, but only 25% of low-income countries. So that's an important inequity that we also need to address, so that leadership opportunities are available in all countries. So we have all that evidence now.
Carrie, unfortunately, we've hit a technical glitch there. We've lost the sound coming from Madison College. I wonder if your technicians there can briefly check on that in terms of where we're going. But whilst you're doing that, let's come back into the room and bring the WHO's Chief Nursing Officer, Amelia, into the conversation. Let's pick up on some of the things, Amelia, that Carrie was telling us, the key findings. What really resonates for you from your long experience and your engagement with nurses around the world?
Thank you very much, Jim, and a very happy International Nurses Day to about 30 million nurses around the globe. Jim, what is very important for me is with regards to leadership that Carrie has just shared. And that is very important at the national level, but also regional and at the global stage. And of course, we are hearing very great progress given this 2025 report. However, there are key areas within the government chief nursing officer that can be looked at to scale up and enhance towards the future. And of course, with the support and the leadership of the member states, this can be done. One area is with regards to the clarity of the roles, with regards to the roles and responsibilities of the government chief nurse. And that includes workforce planning. Given right now the global shortage of nurses around the world and in many countries, the government chief nurse can play a significant role in planning workforce for now, for the critical situation right now, but also for the future. The government chief nurse can also enhance the role with regards to policy advice, bringing in nursing perspectives and a deep understanding of care at the front line, at rural remote contexts, and also at the national level, taking that wealth of experience to the policy table so that it contributes to designing policies that are safe and quality for patient care and overall population care at communities in all contexts. So these are very important roles and authority and responsibilities, but also that the government chief nurse is allocated adequate budget to be able to deliver effectively her roles and responsibilities. And of course, the most important one, Jim, is to be able to contribute to future policy, change of policy directions so that we are accountable to the population, and in particular, the underserved population that we serve. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thanks, Amelia. They're great reflections there. And Howard, let's turn to you. From some of those key findings that Carey was talking about, what resonates with the International Council of Nurses?
Jim and Amelia, firstly, and everybody, let me wish you a very happy International Nurses Day. Today is a day to celebrate you, to celebrate each other, and make sure you do that big time today. Turning to the report, we remember when we launched State of the World's Nursing 1, we launched it into a period of uncertainty. We were just at the start of the pandemic. We're launching this report into an equally uncertain period as a result of conflicts, of wars, of decisions to defund health globally as well. We have in this report, I think, evidence that shows us the impact of some of that uncertainty that the nursing workforce has been dealing with over the last 5 years. Let's be honest, we have a mixed picture. There is areas of progress, but there is areas where we're simply not doing enough. We reported a shortage of 5.9 million in 2020, it's 5.8 million now. The European and America regions, their stock has actually gone down. The target of 8% for education that we set, many are short of that. And even if we hit the 4.1 million target for 2030, there's still a huge a huge gap that we have. It requires a big lift from the Americas and Euro. And as you heard from Carey, it still leaves 70% of shortages in Afro and EMRO. How do we address this? What do we address? If we look at the report, I think, listen to the data. The data shows that we have some real issues with retention. Half of countries report having no minimum regulations in place for working conditions. 58% no mental health support, not enough on a tax. And those pay figures translate to a median salary in low-income countries of about $4,000 US a year, 6,000 to 8,000 in middle-income countries, 27,000, 28,000 in high-income countries. It's simply not enough, often below the average for salary levels in those countries. ICN released a report based on a survey of our associations recently. It actually showed 25% of countries reporting a real decrease in pay over recent years, and 50% holding still. These factors of unequal distribution, of low pay, of not good working conditions, put those all together and they drive, they fuel, they accelerate international recruitment and migration, which we know is an issue for our profession. Jim, I think about a little bit like this, to use this analogy. We all know that we have airbags in our car and we don't see them, but in times of disaster, when there's a collision, when there's danger, they inflate and they protect us. And I think there's a little bit of complacency around the global nursing workforce, assuming that the workforce will just be there. Nursing will be there in times of crisis. If we don't listen to the evidence, if we don't act, if we don't invest, my worry is that nursing will not inflate in that way to protect us. We have to act, we have to invest. And the last point, Jim, on this, the invest is really difficult at the moment because of the global challenges that we're facing. The ICN theme for this year's IND, Caring for Nurses Strengthens Economies. Last year, the economic power of care. There is economic power in nursing and in care. We mobilize that along with our health effectiveness as well. I look at it a bit like this. Perhaps nursing is the new oil to fuel our economies and our improved global health.
Wonderful. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Howard. Carrie, I hope you were listening to some of the remarks there from two of our co-chairs, particularly around some of the leadership agenda, but also what Howard was touching upon. Progress, yes, and let's celebrate progress always, but inequalities. Dr. Tedros, in his remarks today, earlier for the launch of the report, really saying, let's really zoom in on these global inequalities. Reflections, Carrie. This is where we hope the worldwide tech is still, and we've lost. Let's come back into the room then. This is live. You can see what's happening. Howard clearly has read the report in some detail. But Amelia, the inequalities, please. I mean, you're working with people who are faced with these struggles and inequalities on a day-to-day basis. What's some of your reflections on that?
Thank you, Jim. I think inequality is for all of us, nurses, health systems, and politicians and leaders and global health leaders. I have seen the inequalities play out at remote, rural contexts, and even at national contexts. And that is something that we need to better understand, the forces that play within the system in order to plan and have strategies for the long term in the context. One of which is advanced practice nursing. I think I thank the member states for reporting on advanced practice nursing. I think it's an excellent strategy moving forward, as there is growing evidence on the safe and quality care that APN deliver. And this is enhancing access and coverage for basic essential services to most often populations or underserved population. And I think, Jim, this is also very important, not only in the global situation, but also at small island developing states where the nurse density is lower compared to other countries. So the APN strategy can be a very powerful tool for the future, for closing the gaps with regards to health inequity and advancing universal health coverage to safe and quality care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amelia. And I think that's really in the report that you've got online available, this whole discussion of equitable access to health services, equitable access to nursing, the small island developing states, other countries with growing populations, a real challenge. Let's keep that there in mind. We're going to go now to a section around the world. We're going to be hearing from some of our other partners in different spots around the world. And firstly, do we have Dean Sheila Bonito connected from the Philippines? Sheila is one of our co-chairs representing obviously the Philippines, worldwide known for their education development of nurses and working all around the world. She's the Dean of the School of Nursing at the University of Philippines, the president of the Philippine Nursing Association, and like I said, a co-chair of the steering committee. Sheila, are you with us? Are you connected?
Yes, Jim, I'm here.
Sheila, great to hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, happy International Nurses Day to all of you. So from the Philippines, we know that the Philippines is a leading exporter of nurses, but our ratio of graduate nurses to population remains lower compared to high-income countries. And we have a single undergraduate degree, BS Nursing, and education standards exist for higher education institutions offering the program. Currently, there are 408 nursing schools, and maintaining quality can be undermined by faculty shortages, limited clinical training sites and supervisors, and infrastructure constraints. There are also more private schools offering the BSN program, with only 20% from public schools, driving a wide variance on the cost of nursing education. As shown in the State of the World's Nursing Report 2025, we need more investment in nursing education to support faculty development, student scholarship, and infrastructure development. So with the report that we have, we're pushing for policies. I sit with the Commission on Higher Education Technical Panel for Nursing Education, representing the University of the Philippines, Manila College of Nursing as a center of excellence, and also the Association of Deans of Philippine Colleges of Nursing, pushing for policies that would address these concerns. So one, the continuous monitoring of nursing schools to ensure compliance with the standards on curriculum, faculty, learning environment, and resources. Development of a Master in Nursing Education program for nurses, especially for nurses with vast clinical experience to qualify as faculty members. Development of guidelines on accreditation of healthcare institutions as practicum sites to provide quality training experience, and also integrating universal health coverage, primary healthcare in the curriculum to help a BSN program re-examine the competencies in public health nursing and find ways to contribute more to public health. And as discussed earlier also by Carey, the need to invest more in technology infrastructure development, including simulation-based education, to ensure that faculty are trained to use new technologies effectively and enhance nursing education program. But then beyond the education, we are also we've also seen in the SON report concerning international migration patterns, which can exacerbate inequities. The current work conditions, low salary, and lack of career progression push Filipino nurses to work abroad. There is a need also to address these concerns and rationalize migration, making sure that Filipino nurses are hired to practice on top of their license and given the same work privileges as other foreign-trained nurses. It is also important that Filipino nurses have a strong potential for improvement and also contribution to the health system as a potential for advanced practice roles, as Amelia was saying earlier. However, there is not enough career differentiation that undermines the push for educational preparation for advanced practice. So in summary, we want to improve also our reporting in the National Health Workforce Account so that we can have more evidence-based informed policies, and we can also use that for the monitoring and evaluation of our programs and policies currently in the country. So we hope that we can also monitor the policies, the programs, and also contribute to the evaluation of the implementation of the global strategic directions on nursing and midwifery. So that's it from the Philippines, and back to you, Jim.
Very much, Sheila, and I really appreciate the role that you've played on this. But not only that, I mean, you mentioned the need to invest in the education, in faculty, in infrastructure. That's part of the resolution that's going to the World Health Assembly to accelerate action on the health and care workforce by 2030, which is co-led by the Philippines. A huge appreciation to Secretary Bosa and Undersecretary Kenneth Ronquillo, who will be with us next week promoting this agenda. And the migration topic, clearly we all associate Philippine nurses with the wonderful work around the world as migrant health professionals. But also we need to look at that, and Secretary Bosa and Undersecretary Ronquillo will be chairing discussions next week at the World Health Assembly on that topic. Thank you, Sheila. We're now going to come a little bit closer to Geneva. We're going to jump across to India, and we're inviting Dr. Nasima Shafkat. Nasima, are you with us? Nasima is the Assistant Registrar for Nursing at the All India Institute for Medical Sciences. Are we live? Do we have the connection?
Hi, everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible.
Welcome. Happy International Nurses Day. What about the report? What's relevant to you in India?
Sure. Namaste and a very happy International Nurses Day to everyone celebrating the heart and soul of healthcare, our nurses, the silent heroes and relentless champions. I, Dr. Nasima Shafkat, Assistant Registrar at AIIMS Bhopal, is speaking to you from Bhopal, India's vibrant city of lakes, which is home to over 2 million people and known for its scenic beauty, cultural richness, and historical depth. AIIMS Bhopal is a 1,400-bedded leading tertiary care institution that caters to diverse population, including rural, tribal, and underserved communities. For us, the nursing workforce is not only the lifeline, but also the most under-leveraged asset in healthcare delivery. As an assistant registrar, I oversee academic governance, clinical mentorship, and policy making that nurtures nursing excellence in both education and care. While our institution fosters growth, research, and leadership among nurses, offering opportunities to lead innovations, publish their work, and drive quality, outside our institutional boundaries, we see a different reality. In terms of regional and national landscape, which are challenges of the nursing workforce. A particular concern is the gap between qualification and clinical readiness. Many graduate nurses lack essential hands-on skills, and once recruited, this limited scope to upgrade these skills, posing a serious challenge for patient safety and quality care. Unfortunately, nursing remains undervalued, often overshadowed by comparisons to medicine. Nurses still battle to justify their roles, prove their worth, and fight for equitable recognition and career progression. Yet, we are not passive in the face of these challenges. AIIMS Bhopal has taken a multi-pronged institutional approach with embedded continuous professional development, simulation-based training, and structured mentorship into our system. We advocate strongly for lifelong learning, professional dignity, and leadership roles for nurses at every level. This is where the State of the World's Nursing 2025 report becomes crucial. It resonates so deeply with us, highlighting exactly what we experience on the ground, the urgent need for investment in nursing education, structured career pathways, and an enabling work environment that values nurses as equal partners in the healthcare delivery system. So what can we do? State of the World's Nursing Report not only diagnoses our global pain points, but also offers a way forward. It gives us a global framework and strong evidence base to advocate for policy changes which can strengthen the nursing workforce and improve healthcare outcomes worldwide. We want institutions to focus on competency-based training, structured career ladders, and skill accountability. Nationally, we need policy reforms that support nurse-led research, clinical specialization, and leadership representation in policy making. As we reflect on the findings of the State of World's Nursing 2025 report, let us remember nurses are not cost centers but value creators, a key in delivering the universal health coverage, achieving sustainable development goals, and ensuring resilient care in times of crisis. Friends, the future of healthcare isn't just technology or buildings. It is being shaped at the bedside in the classroom and the community, and nurses are central to it all. Let's unite in this call and stop asking nurses to prove their worth. Instead, let's create systems that recognizes, retains, and respects them and reflects it all. With warm regards from India, thank you for patient attention and thoughtful engagement.
Thank you very much, Naseema, indeed. Let's respect and reward and recognize nurses all around the world as those value creators, echoing what Howard was saying momentarily about how they are a driver for the worldwide economy, not a cost to be considered. Naseema, really appreciate you joining us. I mean, the statistics in the report for India are really boggling. 2.4 million nurses, 300,000 graduates, your value creators coming out of university systems every year. Keep up the great work. Now let's come back to the Eastern Mediterranean region, where we've heard a moment from our colleagues from the Cairo office, from Amelia, from Howard, some of the challenges in different settings around the world. And let's put a light on to those nurses that are working in fragile conflict settings around the world. We're going to be joined by a wonderful colleague, Dr. Shafkat, who is from, Mrs. Fatima Saleh from the Republic of the Sudan. Sudan is entering the third year of a protracted conflict. More than 14 million people have been displaced. There's an urgent need for access to healthcare from the displaced population, the migrant people who've crossed borders. Many thousands of Sudanese citizens have lost their lives. It's a tragedy unfolding and continues to be something that we really need to address. Fatima, you are a wonder. Firstly, just thank you from all of us for the service that you and your colleagues are doing in the Sudan. But please, just some thoughts from yourself when we're talking about nurses in this environment, some of the issues that are of most concern. Fatima.
Thank you so much. I'm audible?
Loud and clear, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Happy International Nurses Day. I'm Fatima Saleh, a nurse from Sudan. I started my professional career as clinical nurse in 2021, working in different settings across all of Sudan. I witnessed firsthand how nurses here were working with insufficient supply, training, and less recognition. That experience drove me to found the Sudanese Nursing Leadership Initiative to support nurses, to speak up for them, and to create a space where we could grow, lead, and be protected. In April 2023, the war started in my country. I saw hospital collapse. I saw nurses working in complete darkness. I saw them continue their duties while bombs fell outside. Some were injured and some never came back. I witnessed physical violence, exploitation, and emotional trauma faced by nurses who were simply trying to help. I saw junior nurses, fresh graduated, sudden thrust into the front line without practical training, forced to make life or this decision without support or guidance. Many students had not received any clinical training since the war began 2 years ago, and we are in the third year. With no access to hospital and no structured support, an entire generation of future nurses have been put on hold. In the midst of this darkness, I see how powerful the leadership and commitment of nurses are in my community. They stay when other people leave, which strengthens community trust in our profession. I'm deeply blessed to present here and for all the work and effort done by the WHO and the World and the International Council of Nurses to launch this important report in our profession, to bring this into our commitment as a global nursing community and take it into practice in our countries. This is a golden moment for us, especially for my country, Sudan. As we experience the pain of war, we must take the lesson And from here, we must start again to rebuild our health system in Sudan, turning this into action. I call on the government of Sudan to seize this moment at the turning point. We need to center nurses in the recovery process through support, training, and leadership. We look on one of Sudan's greatest strengths, a resilient, trusted, and ready workforce. To every Sudanese nurses, your voice matters. Stand, speak for your right to be trained, to be safe, and to lead. To our global partner, there is an enormous potential here, ready to rise. With over 70 nursing colleges and thousands of dedicated nurses across Sudan, we have powerful, ready force to support recovery. Let us advocate and act, not in a memory of what we lost, but in a hope of what we can still create. Thank you so much. I'm really pleased for this opportunity. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Fatima. And the points that you're making there, the context, the situation, and the call to action that you're putting are very much central findings in the report for this. Amelia, let me bring you in. We've also got a question online on this, asking what can we be doing for nurses that are working in these really circumstances? What are we doing to protect, safeguard them, and psychological support? What are some of the issues that we're trying to do here at WHO?
Thank you very much, Jim, and thank you very much, Fatima, for that excellent presentation. I am very proud of the courage that you and your nurses demonstrate at very challenging working contexts and staying on when everybody leaves. I am so proud of you. I want to say that there is a need moving to the future in collaboration with your government and governments around the world to better support nurses working at conflict and very challenging working conditions with regards to psychological support and also mental health support. And of course, our teams here in WHO, we work collaboratively with other departments in order to better support healthcare professionals at conflict zones working at very challenging working conditions. I thank you. Over to you, Jim.
Thank you, Amelia. And let's just remember, it's a time to celebrate nurses, but let's also remember no attacks on health workers, health facilities. The health personnel worldwide is the requirement. It's not a choice. Let's come back then to Europe. It's a pleasure now to go across to London, I believe, and we're going to invite the Chief Executive Officer of the Burdett Charitable Trust for Nursing, Miss Claire Campbell, to join us. Ladies and gentlemen around the world, the Burdett Trust is a long-standing charitable foundation, and we would like to particularly acknowledge Chairman Alan Gibbs, Dame Christine Beasley, Dame Donna Kinnair, and many of the other members of their trustees, of the Board of Trustees, for their support to WHO in the development and the publication of this report. Claire, you're there. You're about to go into the Houses of Parliament, I understand. Some thoughts from yourself. What are you hearing around the findings of this report, and why are you working with WHO on this?
Thank you. And thank you, Fatima. Thank you for all that you are doing. I'm honoured and delighted to be here, and I bring greetings from the staff and trustees of the Burdett Trust for Nursing on this International Nurses Day, as we pause and recognise the immense contribution that nurses are making to the health of nations. Today's launch builds on a decade of quiet yet inspired advocacy from the trustees of the Burdett Trust for Nursing.
Following the publication of the Triple Impact Report by the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Global Health in 2016, the trustees saw the opportunity to raise the profile of nursing and draw attention to the global need for qualified nursing staff to address universal health coverage. They funded the Nursing Now campaign, which worked with the WHO to create an agenda to advance nursing towards better health for all, a campaign like no other before it with extraordinary impact. As you know, in 2020, the WHO partnered with the Nursing Now campaign and the International Council of Nurses to develop the first global report on nursing. And in 2023, the Burdett Trust for Nursing, a small, independent UK charity, showed its continued commitment to this work and to global nursing by making a grant to the World Health Organization of $1 million to develop this second edition of the State of the World's Nursing Report. We're not a large trust. That sum represents 1/3 of our grant giving for the year because we firmly believe in the importance of this work. We are delighted that despite the huge challenges for the WHO of these last 3 months, the report is being launched today, a testimony to the hard work of so many. The Burdett Trust for Nursing is proud to be its sponsor. This report brings into sharp relief the challenges and opportunities of these uncertain times. It comes at a threshold moment for the profession. It sets out a vision for our future, and I look forward to working collectively to turn that vision into reality. A healthier, fairer, greener, kinder world. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Claire. And again, appreciation to all your support. And I was looking at Howard as you speak. The partnership with WHO and ICN, really appreciative in terms of amplifying this evidence and indeed turning it into a vision for the future. Talking of the future, we're going to go south to Pretoria, to South Africa. And we're going to invite somebody who is at the heart of putting a vision for the future together. I was with her and Amelia was with her just on Friday last week as she was addressing the leadership group of the health working group of the G20, putting nursing and midwifery and the nursing workforce on the radar, on the attention of the diplomats around the world. It's an honor as well. Dr. Nonhlala Makanya, the first chief nursing officer in South Africa. Welcome, Dr. Makanya. Are you with us? Are you online?
Yes, I am, Dean. Thanks so much.
Excellent. I mean, you gave some wonderful remarks to the G20. I'm sure we'll look forward to you carrying them, continuing them with your honourable minister in the Assembly next week. But just some first thoughts from yourself on the leadership agenda that you're trying to promote. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Jim, and good afternoon, colleagues. A happy Nurses Day to all nurses across the globe. For me, Jim, there were two critical take-home messages from the report around the leadership, and this focuses specifically on the leadership role that can be played by the government chief nursing and midwifery officers. And one key message is that the report actually underscores the centrality of the role of the government chief and midwifery officers in setting agenda for investment in education, employment, service delivery, and leadership as imperatives for attainment of sustainable development agenda. And secondly, within the report, there is an inherent call for all member countries to actually acknowledge acknowledge the fact that chief nursing officers are strategically positioned to provide expert advice to ministries of health, on policy options to optimize investment in the policy priorities. And this could be achieved by actually providing leadership in development of country-specific roadmaps to implement policy priorities as outlined in the second SON report, against the backdrop of gains that have been made in the implementation of previous strategic plan, particularly the global strategy on human resources for health 2020, and that one that is specific to nursing. And the leadership would really, the leadership would enable countries to strengthen ethical leadership, implement equity-oriented, socially accountable, and competency-based nursing education and training system, and also enable nurses to implement high-impact nurse-led models of care. It is also quite critical that the leadership role of government chief nursing officers is amplified to coordinate workforce health accounts that would inform recruitment, posting, retention, and development of workforce, thus ensuring that nurses remains trusted leaders in the delivery of safe, person-centered healthcare. I am confident that my fellow colleagues around the globe are equal to the task, provided they get the necessary political support from their line ministries. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Makanya, and some key issues there around that leadership role. And again, I mean, I just really want to compliment you for the work that you're doing with the G20, but also with your partners and stakeholders, including the nursing associations and regulators. I know, Howard, you were thinking in terms of that role, government chief nurses with presidents, nursing associations, a force for change.
We've said it before, Jim and Amelia, we absolutely need all of our nursing organisations, all of our nursing leaders to come together. Look, let's be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy here. We've got different groups, different interests. And on these big issues about leadership, about shortage, about decent working conditions, about nurses working in conflict zones. ICN has Nurses for Peace. We're working with nurses in the Middle East, in Afghanistan, in Sudan, in Ukraine to provide equipment and support, to provide education and training, to provide leadership as well. Because nurses aren't just here for response to disasters, they're here for recovery. On these big issues, and big issues like calling out the international community to hold fast to international humanitarian law. Nurses are not a target. International humanitarian law is also clear. Food, water, medical aid and equipment should be supplied. Nearly 30 million strong. The power that we have if we hold together as one profession on these big issues, I think is our biggest hope for the next few years.
Absolutely. Together, we will go further accordingly to take this forward. We're going to go now back to the United States, where we're hoping we're going to go back to Wisconsin and to Jeff Wenzel, who hopefully is there in the simulation lab at the Wisconsin College. Jeff, are you with us?
Yeah, welcome, everyone. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead, please, Jeff.
Perfect. Let me introduce you, Dr. Milton and Dr. Surway.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome, everyone, to Madison College. We're here today in the Centers for Simulation and Innovation, which is an internationally endorsed facility. We're actually in the control room with Dr. Surway, where I, as nursing faculty, get to evaluate my students with their nursing interventions based on their response to the simulation. Dr. Surway, would you please tell us a little bit about how the technology works here in this control room?
Absolutely, Jonathan. In the control room, we get to adjust the patient's response to the student's interventions. We can modify their vital signs and assessment findings based on what the students are providing for care.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Honestly, as a school that takes great pride in our ability to leverage digital health technologies to enhance nursing education and their learning of students, we appreciate the policy priority on digital health in the State of the World Nursing 2025.
It takes investment of time and resources, as well as a learning curve for faculty. But we feel it's essential to graduate nurses who have the skills they need to best meet the health needs of the populations that they will be serving.
Jeff, I have 4 students here with me today. Let's go take a look at their progress. Hey guys. So everybody, I want to quickly introduce you guys. This is Dr. Lamberty, Afi, Bree, Katie, and Delatum. These are 4 of my students as well as fellow faculty. They're a part of our advanced clinical practice rotation. Delatum is actually our recipient of this state's 2025 Future Nurse Leader Award, and I have had the pleasure of being your faculty. Would you tell us a little bit about what working with these digital health technologies and simulation has meant to you in your nursing education?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Milton. As a nursing student working with the electronic health system and the high fidelity mannequins, and also collaborating with other students from different health disciplines, I would say that it's really been eye-opening, whereby it's almost like a real person or the real world. So it was very educative. And with that experience and going into the work field or workforce, I feel more confidence going in as a nurse.
And honestly, you truly stepped above during these simulations. So I really appreciate your hard work. Thank you for joining us at Madison College. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Jonathan, thank you very much. Delatum, congratulations on your award. Wolfpack, is it? It's Go Wolfpack, I understand. Yeah. Keep up the excellent work. Carrie, you're just upstairs from the simulation center, connecting from a moment ago. You're watching and interacting with Jonathan, Delatum, and colleagues. Some final thoughts from you from the US there, Carrie.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, it has been. That are in the State of the World's Nursing Report. There are policy priorities in education, jobs, leadership, and service delivery. And we know that going forward to 2030, we've got to focus in on some key areas of emphasis within each policy priority. And that's got to be, as Howard said, that concerted national action and that national dialogue, using the data to identify what are the issues and what are the actions and where are the investments that's action in order to have dialogue and decision making. So thank you everyone to the speakers who emphasize those areas that we all need to take into consideration and identify how we are going to drive that country action. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you very, very much, Carrie. Huge appreciation, and it's early in the college, and the students are in early to connect with us. We lost your sound a little bit, but huge appreciation. But also, I mean, Carrie has led this process team, but also colleagues, Matthew Bonial, Melissa Keane-Bingham, Stephanie Flores, Giorgio Cometto, Tapas Nair, Tina Kunjaman, Lena Atang, Kasum Diallo from the team have been working for over 18 months on this report. Huge shout out to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be right for us to be having International Nurses Day and recognizing the contributions around the world without some remarks from a very special lady, Her Royal Highness Princess Muna Al Hussein from the Royal Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, WHO's long-standing ambassador for nursing and midwifery. And it has been in the years that I've been here and with Amelia, it's been an absolute honor to be working with her and her office. And she's kindly sent some remarks for us on International Nurses Day 2025. Your Highness.
Colleagues and friends, it is an honor to join you in celebrating International Nurses Day and the launch of the State of the World's Nursing 2025 report. The report provides a comprehensive overview of the global nursing workforce, including their education, roles, and extensive contributions to the health and well-being of the world. I congratulate the hundreds of chief nursing officers, deans, association presidents, country representatives, and experts who have worked as partners with the World Health Organization and the International Council of Nurses to set out the contemporary evidence. Your collective work is a blueprint for action. It reaffirms what I have witnessed in so many countries. Nurses are essential in achieving health for all. Countries that invest in a well-educated, well-distributed, and well-supported nursing workforce makes greater strides in health equity, universal health coverage, gender equality, and economic growth. Yet in too many places, nurses remain underutilized, undervalued, and undersourced. Ladies and gentlemen, we can no longer afford to overlook this reality. To governments and parliaments around the world, I urge you to align national action with the report's findings. Invest in nursing education and leadership. Expand the scope of practice and enable nurses to work to the full extent of their competencies. Establish safe working conditions, equitable pay, and pathways for career progression. Adopt legalization and regulation that supports, not limits, the power of nursing to transform health. To partner organizations, academia, professional associations, international financing institutions, civil society, and private sector employees, you are vital allies. Please harmonize standards, scale of innovation, and prioritize investment in nursing. Strengthen accreditation systems, expand access to education, harmonize pay, strengthen protection, and ensure regulatory frameworks uphold quality and accountability. To Dr. Tedros and the wonderful team of regional directors across WHO, including our very own Dr. Hanan Balki here in the Eastern Mediterranean region. It has been a privilege to serve as WHO Ambassador for Nursing and Midwifery. As your ambassador, I encourage you all to accelerate action in support of countries. Nursing must remain central to WHO's work. Nursing is not simply a profession. It is a force for dignity, equity, healing, and justice. Every nurse empowered is a community strengthened, a mother supported, and a child saved. The State of the World Nursing 2025 offers us the evidence. Let us respond with the courage and the unity to action its findings. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. It's, again, just an inspirational role as WHO Ambassador for Nursing and Midwifery, recognizing the work of nurses and midwives worldwide. Amelia, I'm sure that it makes your job a lot easier, the chief nurse, when we have an ambassador like Her Royal Highness.
Thank you, Jim. It is such an honor to have Her Royal Highness supporting nursing and midwifery. And this is very important moving forward, calling on governments, finance, and all partners to come together to support nursing and midwifery. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amelia. Howard, I mean, Her Royal Highness talking about partners as our allies, this force for good, and not equity, healing, the comments there. Some of the similar messages you were saying.
Listen to the data. Listen to our Royal Highness. What more powerful person do you need to give us a message to our politicians? Listen to the data, act and invest. And this is why ICN with WHO is working incredibly hard to make sure we get the right decision at the forthcoming World Health Assembly to extend the strategic directions for nursing and midwifery. We cannot have this report and not have an extension to the strategy, because the strategy is the compass, the blueprint, it's the roadmap to universal healthcare coverage. If we look after our nurses of today, we are looking after the health of tomorrow. One world, one profession, one health.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Howard. So listen to the data, listen to the evidence, listen to the call for action from the WHO ambassador. But if that doesn't touch you, I want you to listen to this next video. And maybe this will also, if it's not your mind, it will affect your heart. And then we'll come back for a final wrap-up. Let's invite the Scrub Choir for their greetings on International Nurses Day.
Nurses from all around the world are part of Global Scrub Choir, and we are proud to share our gratitude today. Happy International Nurses Day 2025. We can all show nurses around the globe our gratitude.
Strengthen nurse education, jobs, leadership, and service delivery.
Improve working conditions, pay equity and gender equity. Prepare nurses for all public health emergencies, including climate-related disasters.
Protect nurses in fragile and conflict settings.
Guaranteed protection for nurses' mental health and well-being.
Ladies and gentlemen around the world, nurses, happy International Nurses Day. We hope you've enjoyed the 90 minutes of the official launch of the State of the World's Nursing Report. We've got the most comprehensive data set ever about the contributions of nurses to universal health coverage, health security, and the health-related SDGs. We are making progress, but that progress is not equitable. We need to make action. We need to have intentional investment in the education, the quality of jobs, the decent work, retention efforts, protecting the mental health and well-being of our workforce to ensure that their contributions, their scope of practice, which we know they can deliver, is having an impact on community population health worldwide. Next week, we will host the World Health Assembly. The nursing and midwifery agenda will be on the table. Migration will be a discussion, decent work. We look forward to ministers of health and their delegations around the world taking the decisions that will create change, this blueprint for action that Her Royal Highness Princess Muna Al Hussein was asking for. Huge appreciation to nurses everywhere, huge appreciation to the team behind the scenes and to all our colleagues around the world. Stay safe, look after yourselves. Thank you very much.